there will be a meeting on this, I think, February, and in that plenary meeting, I think that Nepal will be put in a gray list. So I was thinking like more in terms of what will be the implication, and there are also lots of misconception around gray
Hmm.
list. People think that this
Hmm.
is a like a is a worse situation for country. So it's not actually like that, right? It's a kind of a warning, not a like a sanction or something like that. So it's just like a the FATF has identified, okay, there is some strategic deficiency in your AML regulation, and let's work out together to solve that issue. And people make a, like a, the news media make a lot of lot of give a lot of bad publicity around this. And even the not only let's say media, even the financial institution, other financial institution in other countries, they actually also think the they think that the country which is a gray list should be applied with enhanced due diligence measure, which is not the main objective of FATF. It's not like putting that country in a sanction. So I was like thinking
Very
around.
true. Very true.
I was
Very
like
true.
thinking,
And uh, that's a good point. But unfortunately, that is what happens.
right,
The real side of things is, and has due diligence has to be placed for all the customers coming from that country.
right,
And yes, but, although the FATF's actions are not meant for it, but that is how the financial industry reacts to such a gray listing.
right,
Because as you know, every bank has a risk appetite, and the risk appetite tolerance for every bank is different. Some banks like HSBC have a very good, they can, as you know, HSBC has been fined so many times in the past, and they have been a subject of controversy in so many cases. So I feel it is unfortunate, but that is the hard reality that we have to accept.
right,
It is something that we all know that, okay, the FATF has put the gray list because it wants the compliance environment to improve, but
right,
not to penalize the country in any way. But
right,
penalization happens by the other participants in the industry,
right,
unfortunately, to protect themselves.
right.
So yeah, the compliance is a cost center after all, Kiran. It's
Hmm.
it's it's viewed as a department which says no to everything,
Right,
and then that's how we do earn our bread and butter by making sure that our risk appetite is very closely, very low, until and unless you get a client that's gonna get you like big fees. I'm pretty sure the top management always wants it to be very very tight.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, I
So
hear you.
we can.
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Please continue.
So so Kiran, I feel, let's start with whatever you want to talk about the Nepal situation, and later on we can I can add certain points,
Right,
like my
right.
thoughts,
Yeah,
and make it a free flowing conversation, as you
right,
said,
right.
like,
Yeah,
not a monologue wherein just
right,
one person keeps on talking, otherwise it will
right,
be very
right,
boring,
right.
right?
Because
Let's keep it.
right. Because the podcast is actually the free conversation, right? It's not like a
Exactly.
webinar there where you prepare a presentation material and then you deliver your speech or content, right? So it
Very
should
true.
be free
Very true.
flowing, right? It should be like we
Yes.
are both giving our opinion on this topic, and it should be as you said, like a free flow conversation. I completely agree with this. And yeah, regarding like let's start with the Nepal situation. So let me. I have included or recorded some data. Mm, so
Sure. Sure.
yeah, so I just I just thought that I couldn't remember all those data, so I just put it in a paper. So
Yes, yes, of course, of course. Even I have made my notes, and
right.
that's a very good way to structure our podcast. Yes.
Right. So, as you know, or you may have known that, so there was a mutual evaluation in 2023 by APG,
Hmm.
and so in that mutual evaluation, what the APG group found that we have only complied with the 5 of 40 recommendation. So we are largely complied. So we have fully complied with the 5 out of 40 recommendation. Then we have largely complied with 16 recommendation, and we have partially complied with 16 recommendation, and we have not complied with the 3 recommendation. And as a result, the major the deficiency was around like they found the major deficiency in legislative area. So we have different laws and regulation, and which needs to be revised to meet that FATF recommendation. So currently there are 20 laws that needs to be improved, right? And actually we had like we had presented that we had revised that regulation and presented to parliamentary committee, but due to the dissolution of parliament, that process became delayed, and as a result, the FATF is like putting pressure that Nepal should be put in a let's say gray list. Also, uh, uh, there is a problem with the enforcement. Okay, we have certain legislation on AML safety area, but we have not implemented it properly. So that is another issue. And another issue is we have non-compliant standards related to targeted financial sanction and proliferation financing for weapons of mass destruction. And for this we have not to work out anything, right? So we have a certain legislation, but it is not let's say enough to meet that requirement or meet that recommendation of FATF.
Kiran, sorry to interrupt. I feel this is a very good point that you have raised regarding proliferation financing, which is like a
Right.
topmost priority for FATF to prevent countries from becoming part of this channel of proliferation financing. As you know, North Korea has been very infamous of using this
Right.
in order to gain access to dual use goods and
Right.
instruments
Right.
for its own nuclear program, which is unauthorized by the
Right. Right.
global organizations. And I feel like I wanted to understand, since you have been a veteran in the industry in Nepal for so long, I wanted to understand, has Nepal become a corridor for proliferation financing for maybe Russia or North Korea? Do you see any sort of um, uh, those things uh, on the precipice of proliferation financing? Has Nepal played any sort of role
Right.
that you think that the regulators have kept it on high priority?
Right, and this is a very interesting point because there has been only one case around terrorist financing, and this was I think around 1993. There was there was a bomb blast in India by I think Dawood Ibrahim. I think they were involved in that incident, and during that I think that during that time there was one case filed regarding terrorist financing, but after that we have never had such cases. Or the Nepal is like there was a civil war let's say before 10 or 15 years back, but now the things have been settled down, right? We don't have like we never have heard any terrorist activities that has happened in Nepal, or terrorist let's say acts, anything like. But I think that the FATF or APG team may have information that Nepal could be a channel for that moving funds from certain countries. Okay, because in our neighboring countries we have heard issues. Let's say in India there are a lot of terrorist activities going on, right? and even there is a Pakistan,
Myanmar.
Myanmar, right? So, so I think that Nepal could be the channel for flowing that funds
And
from one place
yes,
to
yes, and
another, and we are not able to
yes,
detect that. And I think that because APG must have, or they are people with
intelligence.
yeah, with high
Yes,
intelligence, and they get a lot of information from different intelligence bodies. So they must have information that the Nepal has been being used as a channel to flow that terrorist financing fund, and we are not able to detect or find that, right? So that as a reason, that's the reason why we have been compliant, we have found as a non-compliant in that area. That's why they are putting pressure to implement
right. And Kiran,
countermeasures.
one other way I would like to think about this PF financing is that Nepal geographically is placed much closer to Myanmar. As you
Right,
know, Myanmar is a blacklisted country that is currently ruled by army junta,
right, right, yeah,
and they do not have a democracy in place. It's only ruled by the military, and since that is the reason, uh, the global organizations like the FATF um, and the world NATO and other organizations have designated Myanmar as a high risk country and had put people on travel ban
right, right,
for countries like Myanmar. So I also feel that the geographical location of Nepal has also led to that sort of perceptions around for the APG to think, maybe it could be the weaker link. Your security system is as strong as the weakest link in the group, and I think Nepal is one of the weakest link
right,
that could be exploited by these bad actors in order to channel those funds for their own heinous activities to promote those
right,
activities within
right.
their country.
Right.
Yes.
So this is a very valid point, Vivek, because I'll give you an example. You know the vape, right? The vape machines, right? That is an alternative for smoking. In India, it's banned, but in Nepal, it's allowed.
Yes.
But the import data of vape, I this was in the news recently. The vape amount of the vape that is imported in Nepal is like bigger than its market over here. It's bigger than the
Ah.
consumption market. So what actually is happening
Mhm.
is that this vape actually is smuggled back to India, because there were raids
Of
in
course.
different places, and they have found lot of quantity, lot of packages of vapes, and which are obviously not for Nepalese market, right? Because
Of course.
we
Yes.
don't or let's say our people don't consume that much of vape,
Yes.
right? Vape, so a lot of them are imported to smuggle it to India. So a lot of things, these
India.
things happen in Nepal, right? And I think that this is a very serious issue from money laundering point of view, as well as terrorist financing. So in that perspective, you are correct. So Nepal must be used by certain entities, terrorist entities, to channel funds from one country to another. Maybe Myanmar. We can make an educated guess because we don't have anything we don't have that in a public knowledge. So we can make an educated guess. So maybe either it is moving to either Myanmar or to India or to some other country. We are not we because we don't have that information currently in a public knowledge. So, but we can make an educated.
Absolutely. And you correctly use the right word, educated guess,
Right,
because we are trying to connect the dots
right,
through this conversation and trying to understand why proliferation financing has been APG's top priority for Nepal, because it sees that opportunity from the angle of a financial launderer or a criminal who can create networks within the country. Since, as you know, already mentioned, Kiran, that Nepal has a weaker AML compliance regulations. Also, the talent and the skill is not at par with other countries. So again, the knowledge also plays a very important role.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yes.
That is also a valid point because currently we don't have that skill resources available in Nepal, right? Let's say we are talking about anti-money laundering experts. So maybe after, I hope, God forbid, I hope that we are not put in a gray list, right? But even if it happens, it can have a positive aspect also, right? Like maybe the organization or country will be willing to invest more in human resources to develop AML safety skill professionals, right? So yeah, there can be there will be some awareness to develop such kind of resources in Nepal, because in UAE, after they have been put in the gray list, there was a huge demand of AML safety professional in various entities, right? And people were doing this different certification regarding AML safety, let's say CAMS, ICA, and so on. So yeah, it could have a positive aspect also.
And also, Kiran, there is a business opportunity here as well,
Right.
wherein since you have been a veteran into ACAMS and all these international organizations that provide compliance and money laundering related certifications, there is in India as well, there is a local organization that provides a similar sort of a study structure as ACAMS, but is not globally recognized as ACAMS. It's called as CAMI.
Ah, yeah, yeah, I have
So
heard you.
it's a local Indian certification, although it doesn't have much sort of power or influence like ACAMS, which has been there for a long time. But I feel like, Kiran, this is a market opportunity that is just waiting to be, used by people who can provide that sort of training and consulting to organizations, and something that we should start working on, possibly to start a sort of a certification for the local banking executives, you know because ACAMS is expensive, and
Right,
we can sorry
right. Okay.
and we can use the cost advantage on our side to deliver the same sort of knowledge, but and you know have the same sort of knowledge given to the participants at the fraction of the cost, and it could be a win-win situation for both the company as well as for us. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I hear you, Vivek, because since you are also CAM certified and you have also done advanced CAM certification, right? And also you are working in like Ireland, and I think that so they are like the UK. There is a like a tough AML safety regulation over there in UK, right? So you have a experience in that area. And coming back to your point, yes, obviously there is a market over here. And since many people's I have talked with a lot of compliance professional, and they want to do there are different aspects, right? One is the cost. Okay, obviously there is a cost because ACAMS is a very expensive exam, and most organization usually don't finance that for that exam, right? So if the compliance professional, are you okay, Vivek?
Yes, I'm fine.
Okay. So anyway, so I was talking that I have talked with a lot of compliance professional, and they are eager to do CAMP certification or some kind of other anti-money laundering certification. The main problem are, one is expensive, right? And many organizations are not willing to finance it, right? They have to, if they have to do CAM certification, they have to do out of their pocket. Even when I did CAM certification, paid for that exam myself, and it cost like a 1 year bonus, actually, if I have to say that, right? So, and another point, and this is a very valid point, because uh, here in many organizations, they don't understand, the importance of AML safety or having a good compliance culture. So what they do is, uh, when you are working in a certain department, they can immediately transfer you to another department without any giving possible reasons. So one day you are a compliance profession, in next day you will be in a some business area or in a branch manager, or work will be working as a branch manager, right? So in that sense, people don't want to take that risk, because you have spent a lot of money getting that certification. But if you are next time you are you are transferred to some other areas where that certification will not have any kind of a value for your work, then why you would invest that much of money? So I think that organizations should also be aware of that fact, that why we need AML safety professional, why we need compliance professional in our organization, and they should be willing to invest in that resources, like to groom them, to provide with the opportunity to pursue certain certification, right? And they should understand that when they train their employees, it will be coming back to them, right? He or she will be contributing to that organization. And and there is a, like, this is, I'm talking from entirely from the perspective of Nepal, right? And people, I have seen, like, people from the business side being hired in risk areas, or they are not allowing people to to work in a certain area. Let's say AML safety is a highly specialized area, so you have to let them work for at least 5 7, or in many organizations, like let's say in developed nations, right? They You can see that people working in a certain, let's say, compliance area or AML safety area for more than 15 or 20 years, right? So actually they have because it takes a lot of time to understand AML safety. uh, okay, sorry about this. So it takes a lot of time to understand, or get the grasp of AML safety knowledge. It's not you become an expert in a 1 or 2 years, right? It takes a time, and organization really need to understand this.
Yes, absolutely right, Kiran. And I hope Nepal has fares well in the evaluation, and things go for the better rather than for the worse. Let's
Right.
hope that happens. There were a few things I also wanted to discuss, which was about the change in the gray listing criteria of FATF. So, as per the October 2024 overhaul of the criteria by which the FATF starts putting countries in the gray list, is that now the threshold has been increased from 5 billion to 10 billion of looking at the financial system size. So earlier, what used to happen is that smaller countries like the Pacific Islands, like those Hawaii, Cayman Islands, and all these small countries used to be getting grey listed just because the threshold was very small. But right now the threshold has increased, and that has somehow worked in favor of those Pacific Islands, because now they are not automatically uh, becoming a part of the grey list. So that is one of the biggest change. So the low income countries are now exempt in a way to be flagged by the FATF. And again, I think that it could be used as a loophole by the financial criminals, of course, because now they can definitely use that information to their own advantage. Another thing that has come into in terms of change has been that the countries that have been going through economic crisis, like for example countries like Venezuela, as you know, or Lebanon, these countries have been going through an economic crisis, and now FATF have given them a grace period. Earlier, it was like for 12 months. Now it has been increased to 2 years, which is 24 months. So now it has provided them a breathing room to start implementing those compliance and AML standards, um and which could help them, because these countries do not have the financial strength to focus on these areas. Another, I think, strict one of the major changes has been the application of faster scrutiny for the 40 FATF members. So earlier it was, I think, 1 year, and now it has been reduced to 6 months observation windows. So currently, countries with can be part of the observation cycle within 6 months. And I think which is a very positive change, because that, I think, as you know, Kiran, with the fast changing financial landscape and geopolitical environment, these changes do make sense. But what are your thoughts on these changes?
Mm, yeah, because I have read somewhere in I think in a FATF official website, because see, they want to promote AML safety regulation in any country, right? They want to uh, ensure that country are following AML safety rules and regulation or standards made by FATF. But during that or while they are following that rules and regulation, they want to because for the sake of AML safety, following AML safety rules and regulation, they don't want to exclude certain people or certain the community from banking areas, right? We call it like financial inclusion, right? So they want to ensure that people are banked, right? FATF wants to ensure that people are also banked, so they should not be cut off because of the lack of AML safety, or because they are not able to comply with AML safety rules and regulation. So I'll give you an example. In many areas of Nepal, uh, there are certain individuals who don't know, who are illiterate, and who don't have the citizenship ID also, right? They don't have identifications, right? And so now, because of the lack of that citizenship or identification details, they are not able to open a bank account, right? And even there are peoples who don't want to go to banks because they are afraid of like that, there is a mentality, I'm not sure, but they are so afraid that they don't want to enter the banking premises, right? So the FATF, I think that this kind of the reason why such changes has came, because the FATF don't want to exclude these communities, right? Because there are still countries which are very underdeveloped, and there are still population in that country which are unbanked, right? So so they want to encourage that country. So they want to make the AML safety rules and regulation lenient for that countries, so to ensure there will be a financial inclusion. Because ultimately, if you look at it, if there is a financial inclusion, let's say in country, if there is a everyone has a banking account, or they are some way connected with the banking channel, the economy will improve, and we can implement AML safety rules and regulation very easily. Because the when the country, let's say half of population are doing transaction on cash basis, or let's say they are not connected into a banking channel, then in that country a lot of money laundering or such transaction flourishes, right? So I think that because of that, I think that FATF have made some leniency in their rules and regulation.
Yes, and look at this information, Kiran, and I feel like this is a big loophole that has been I feel could be could cause problems in the future, is that Cayman Islands was removed from the gray list
Right,
in
right, yeah,
2024.
yeah, I have heard about.
And following that, the hedge fund registrations have increased by 22% in Cayman Islands.
Mm,
Now, as you know, Kiran, hedge funds are not obligated by the financial system to disclose their investments. Hedge
right.
funds operate in a very secrecy, an opaque environment. It's not very transparent into what how they use their funds, who make the investment, where do they invest,
Uh,
to
Vivek,
support their
yeah, I think I just lost you. So, yeah, Vivek, I think we are running out of time. So you said 10 minutes. So
okay.
can I create you a next link and send it
Yes,
to you
yes, let's
again?
do that. Yes,
Okay,
yes, let's
okay,
do that.
okay,
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 see you.
okay. Sure, yeah.
Yes,
My bad. So anyway, let's continue with we're talking about Cayman Island, right?
yes, yes.
So you're talking about his fund. Yeah, you were
Yes, I
just saying.
was.
Yeah,
So, as per the statistics that I read, as soon as Cayman Island was removed from the FATF grey list, the hedge fund registrations went up by 22%.
right.
Now, this is a very, as a financial crime analyst, you will find the statistic very, very alarming, because we know how hedge funds can be used as a vehicle, like just like those opaque shell organizations that can be created uh, in these islands, which have such uh, freedom. You have a lot of freedom in how you can use the financial system in these small islands to your advantage. So yeah, I just wanted you to understand this. And of course, Venezuela, again, as you know, Venezuela has been struggling economically for quite some time now. And then there has been a 3.4 billion unaccounted oil revenue that they have registered, and this has come into light to the global financial to the global financial world. And again, it could be anything. There's a lot of red flags in these numbers. Yes.
Mm. Yeah, sure, sure. You raise a very valid point, right? But there is a provision in FATF, let's say gray list. Like they will give a after they have lift or put a country out of the gray list, they will give them a time, right? A certain period of time, right? And during that time, if they think that this country has not implemented AML safety regulation properly, right? So they will put that country back into the gray list. So in that case of Cayman Island, let's say, as you said, in the hedge fund works like a shell company, and the problem with the shell company is a beneficial owner, right? There are a lot of hidden beneficial owner, and this is a great red flag, right? Because FATF wants that every FATF wants in every country that there should be a beneficial owner register, right? And because of which many countries have been put in a blacklist, because they don't want to divulge that beneficial information. So in your case, so I think there will be I'm not sure which FATF regional bodies monitor Cayman Island, but they will be watching them closely. And if they found that such issues are there, they can put that Cayman Island back into the gray list. So I think this is not a one-time process; it's an iterative process, right? And yeah, and I think that they will keep on doing this uh, like continuously basis, right? So even if you are not gray list today, and if you if you make some leniency in AML safety regulation, or if you don't enforce AML safety regulation properly, so there is a chance that you may be put back into that gray list. So I think like it's a
Kiran, let me
continuous
tell you
process.
something.
Yeah.
Yes, it definitely it is. Let me tell you some interesting, information that I found out while I was looking at the FATF Grey List website. You Can you tell me whether Croatia is on the grey list?
uh I'm not sure about
Do
the
you think Croatia?
I'm not sure.
Even I was shocked when I learned that Croatia is on the gray list, which
Okay.
is a European country, as you know, and it is put on a gray list. And I'm pretty sure the reasons could be that it could be used as a channel by the Russians
Hmm.
due to the geographical connection,
Right. Right. Right.
uh, and can be used to bypass the the financial system
Hmm.
and strong AML environment.
That would be
Like for
that could
example,
be possible.
how Estonia was used, as you know, in order to channel a lot of those oligarchs that operate in Russia to launder their funds to UK. So Estonia was a big channel that was used in order to channel those funds. And even the I think the Estonian bank, I think it was Danske Bank,
Right. Right.
right? Danske Bank
Yeah.
became
Yeah.
very
I have.
famous
Yeah.
for
I've
this
heard about.
scandal.
Yeah. I
Yes,
have heard
for that.
about that. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, it made it. Yes.
So yes, because there are a lot of, I will say that there are a lot of organization, right, who are watching your transaction payments. Let's say even the Swift transaction, right? Even we think that we are dealing with a Swift transaction with one country to another, but these transaction are being watched because this transaction move from one place to another, and these transactions are being watched by various financial intelligence unit, or maybe sometime the banks report suspicious transaction report, or if the bank is not possible to do, then they will get information from other areas, right? So I will give an example. There were two wallets company in Nepal, right, who were found to be in were who were doing some fishy activities, and so many banks have actually reported that STR, right? But uh, I'm not sure why there was not a like a there were not a or no action was taken against those companies. But what happened was there was a high profile case that happened in Nepal, so it was related to gold smuggling, and lot of big names came in that in that scandal. And after that, then the law enforcement, I think that the law enforcement took some initiatives and actions, and they reported to financial intelligence unit. And after that, there was a lot of freezing of the funds and so on. So the information come from various ways, right? And I will give you an example. There was this case, right, which was not identified by any banks or law enforcement in Nepal, but this information came from the FinCEN directly to financial intelligence unit, and they asked to freeze that fund. And this also resulted into the high profile case in the Nepal, right? So there are very, we don't know it exactly, but there are a lot of the this law enforcement agencies or intelligence agency, let's say Interpol and so on, who have their own kind of a networks, and they are collecting informations, collecting such information from various law enforcement or from various banks, and because of that they are able to give directions to, or to certain government entities or to certain financial intelligence unity to take action against these companies, right? And I think there was an example. I think the one huge bank was fined because so these terrorists, right, ISIS, who were operating in Iraq,
Yes.
and
Yes.
every terror, and there were videos about these terrorists, and every terrorist group were using Toyota vehicle, right, brand new Toyota vehicle.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
how they were able
Yes.
to get that vehicles, get hand on those vehicles, right? Someone must have funded them, right? And later on, this was actually a very interesting story. And those people, like let's say those American intelligence, right, So there is a NSA or different units, right? And they were actually very concerned about this, right? How these terrorists are getting such brand new vehicles, such expensive vehicle, who is financing them, right? And after that, when they look after they looked at that videos, photos, and they started to investigate, okay, who is financing them. And after that, this and when they started to investigate, the this name of this big bank came upon. I'm not sure the name of the bank right now. So and they were fined because they it was later found out that they were channeling terrorist financing funds. So there are different ways, the information comes to various law enforcement agencies, and they put either they put a country, or they put pressure on a country to impose fines and penalties on that organization, or they do it in some other ways. But it's a very it's a like a very complex network over there.
I agree, and that's very interesting on how companies can be used and their brand can be affected.
Right.
Toyota is a globally recognized brand, and when it gets quoted in the news articles that it has been connected with used by the criminal networks, it can also put a very bad reputational risk for the organization.
Right.
And I feel that is the reason due diligence by the car selling or car retailers and dealers is so important, that before selling their high-end cars to customer, conducting a due diligence and understanding what kind of customers they are selling to is very important to
Right.
prevent from any any such sort of scenarios wherein it could be used for terrorism and other sort of financial crime.
So, is there like a similar kind of incident that happened over Ireland? Because I hear a lot of news about terrorist activities, happening over UK or Ireland and so on. So, is there like some interesting stories over there, like some banks being fined for terrorist financing activities?
So, Kiran, that's a very good question. And the UK, as you know, has been used as a butler to the world for financial crime.
Okay.
UK was a safe haven for all the oligarchs, all the dictators in the
Right.
world
Right.
to safeguard their funds. In the
Right.
UK, as you know, London is the financial hub of the world. And it has still been the case. It still is one of the highest. Uh, as you know, London property rates are so high, and it's just because these financial criminals, they have bought up the properties in London, and they don't really use it. It's those all those properties are vacant, but
Right.
they are used to protect their funds because that is how it works. And I think a lot of the Russian nationals have used this channel to bypass the financial. Uh, as you know, that they don't have confidence in their own country's financial system,
Right. Right.
and that is the reason they transfer their funds to countries like UK, which have a much stronger reputation in terms of protection of your wealth,
Right. Right.
and buying property forms part of the wealth, and that is the best way for a money launderer to safeguard their funds is buying a property.
Right. Right.
And that is the reason, Kiran, that a lot of real estate firms have started becoming more proactive in order to make sure that when they are selling a high-end property on the London's most posh areas, they need to make sure that they are doing the due diligence and making sure that there is no usage of trustees or the middle people who are just being used as a facade, and the actual beneficial owner is some guy sitting in Russia who is the owner of a oil conglomerate and has been sanctioned by the OFAC, and that
Right.
could really put you into the crosshairs of the OFAC and can lead to all the sanctions happening with you as with the real estate firm as well. So it has happened. But as you know, the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority of the UK, uh, has been working tirelessly, I would say. There are a lot of actions being taken, but none of them have been so. They do not have the financial power to go through the proceedings in the court of law, because the kind of people that they are dealing with are so strong politically as well as financially, that they have the resources to fight a court case for as and hire the best lawyers in the world to fight for their case, you know. And that is the reason I feel UK is a financial safe haven for money launderers.
Right.
But the things are but the system is getting stronger. But again, it is not at pace with what you need it to be.
Right.
I
Because
would definitely come up with some cases in our next podcast.
right. So yeah, I have heard this, case actually. They heard this case in news because many Russian individuals who were sanctioned by OFAC has actually bought properties in UK, and they were they were vacant properties, and they were very luxurious properties, right? And they were very expensive properties, but they remain vacant, right? And yeah, I have heard that, and I have also heard that previously people were those the politically exposed person who were who had earned money through corruption or a scandal were sent used to send that money to Swiss bank. Now they have moved that fund to UK. How do you think this is a correct, or have I heard it wrong?
You are in part right. Swiss government has become aware of this, and they let it happen for quite some time. As you know, Kiran, Swiss. If you look at the economy of the Swiss, they mostly generate their revenue from tourism,
Right.
and and the financial system. As you know, all the big banks of the world have their headquarters in Swiss, and the reason being, the Swiss system is very um, is very favorable to the financial institutions rather than the government side of things. And
Okay.
that is the reason, if you even in India, lot of people use the Swiss banking system for their black money, and the protection of their black money, because they know that they could be extradited the next time if some sort of enforcement happens, but their money will remain safe. And as you know also, that there was a big revolution that happened during the Modi government, wherein they said that they will release the blacklisted all the black money account holders in the Swiss banks. But that never really happened, and that thing got buried
Right.
within all the talks. It was a very big issue. But
Right.
again, as you know, Kiran, most of the time even politicians have to give up, because a lot of the lobbying that happens is also from the businesses themselves who support these political parties,
Right. Right.
and they also have their own banking accounts in
Mm,
Swiss accounts. So
right.
I agree. But as you said, I think the Swiss have become sidelined, and there are more other avenues have opened up, like the Pacific Islands, the Caribbean islands, the Mauritius, which used to be a long time back, used to be the biggest holder system that supported the black money
Right.
world.
Yeah. Yes.
But now all these new countries have come up. The UK, the Jersey Island, as you have known, the Jersey and the Guernsey Island are the biggest, one of the biggest holders of these kind of funds. Yes, so many countries have opened up their doors now.
Mm, right. Okay. So yeah.
In fact, in India, there is a place in Gujarat. I forgot the name. That place is used as an offshore island within the country for parking of funds, and there is not much enforcement action that could be taken by the financial world or the government. and I would definitely let you know the name in the next podcast. And that is surprising, shocking to see.
So yeah, you mean when you say about talk about that offshore, so you mean to say that like it is not connected to banking channel in India, or it's just an
It
isolation
is not.
place?
It is not. It is operating on its own principles and own rules, and there is not much transparency. That's what I'm trying to say. Transparency is minimum. That is the main reason that differentiates between a normal country versus an offshore operating entity. The transparency is not at all there. You cannot really see who is operating what.
Hmm. Okay. And do you know how the funds are laundered over there in over that let's say state? Like like the political people actually go there and deposit physical cash over that over that place, and after that funds moves around. Like what is the modus of operandi over there? Because I
It's
find this
most of the
very
time
interesting. I find this very interesting.
it most of the time it's the diamond traders. As you
Ah,
know, Kiran,
right, right, right.
Gujarat is known for its diamond trading community,
Ah, now
and
things are
these
clear. Now things,
traders,
yeah.
they use this region for withholding their funds. And since the imposition of the laws is different for that region, they can do whatever they want using those funds. Now,
Right.
again, a lot of banks of India, like State Bank of India, all the other banks, all of them have their offices over there. So
Mm,
they are supporting that activity because
right,
again, it's a very big revenue making operation, right? And yes, and I would love to discuss more on this and try to answer your question in a more
right.
uh, methodical way in our next episode.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's a very interesting question, and I would love to explore further on that.
Like I really find this how the how these precious metals and dealers who actually work, right? And when the gold is a different market than diamond, right? And a lot of things happen in a secrecy in a diamond let's say market, because there are only few people who are involved in this occupation, and this occupation pass from one generation to another, because they meaning to say that they never leave from that
Family
generation,
businesses,
right,
yes,
to third party. There is no chance that third party could enter in that market and establish his or her own business, right? And a lot of things are done in secrecy or word of mouth, right? And there are a lot of and money actually moves from one hand to another, and it's a very difficult way to track that how the money flows from one place to another. And I have heard this also in the news that a lot of money launderer, right, they actually go there and deposit physical cash, and there is a certain process and by which their fund gets laundered. And it is very, and again it is through, it is very easy to transfer that from one country to another by using these precious metals and let's say jewelers.
absolutely.
Yeah, we
I,
need
I,
to.
I,
Yeah, we
I,
should.
yes, we need to definitely
Yeah,
explore further on
yeah,
how the diamond dealers are being used by money launderers because it's again,
right,
you
right,
can have small stones, a value of 2 crores or more than that
right, right,
can be converted. Instead of buying a big property, you can convert your whole wealth into 10 or 15
right.
diamonds.
And it's a very portable also. You can easily move it
Very
from one
portable,
place,
you can, yeah,
move from one
and
place
the
to
value
another.
remains the same.
Yeah, value. It's a good vehicle for a store value, right? The value will never be
Yes,
depreciated, but actually it appreciates over the time,
over time. Yes, yes.
right? And
The
the
diamond market is that the diamond market, I feel, as you know about the from the movie as well, Blood Diamond,
yeah,
that
yeah,
is operated by a monopoly.
Right.
which is the monopoly is by the this famous company, Diamonds Are Forever, D
Right.
Damas, and all
Uh,
these big conglomerates
right.
who control the supply of the diamonds. It's not that diamond is a very scarce material. It could be made in a laboratory as well.
Right.
But the thing is that the conglomerates like D Damas are so powerful that they don't allow the supply to exceed. Because if the supply exceeds the demand, then the price
Right.
will come
Right.
down,
Right.
and the
Yeah.
diamonds wouldn't have the same level of value that it derives. And as you know, people love status. Human minds are
Right.
created in such way that we love things which are less available. That is the reason you see iPhones sold out, because they say that okay, we have just these many pieces in the market right now, and then you need to buy right now. Otherwise, you won't have the chance to buy it.
Right.
You know, and that's how the scarcity mindset comes into play,
Right.
and people wants to show off their Gucci bag or their iPhone because it gives you that status that only I have it and
Right.
you don't,
Yeah.
and you gain a higher status.
Yeah, you have absolutely raised a very good point over there. I heard this in the news. After that Black Friday sale, these large supermarkets actually throw those goods, expensive goods, either by slashing it or destroying it, or they just throw out in a dumpster, right? Like there was like a documentary or some YouTube video, right? There were people collecting things out of the dumpster. There were like PlayStation 5 were thrown by these supermarkets, right? And this is because that, as you said, to create that scarcity in a market, right? To create the value of that product. That I act, and by now I can relate that video to what you are saying. This is absolutely correct.
Yes, yes. Kiran, no rational human being would buy a 2 lakhs bag made by Gucci.
Right.
You won't buy it, I won't buy it.
Right.
Even if we have the money, we won't buy it until and unless we have the mindset that
Right.
I want to show off that bag
Right.
to other
Right.
people
That's
and gain some sort of social status
Mm.
in the social circle, by showing off your Gucci bag.
Right.
So again, it is how we are wired to operate, and
Right.
the best way is to understand these biases in our thinking, these
Right.
cognitive biases that we all have. In fact, all of us as financial crime investigators have this bias of confirmation bias, wherein we usually con- as soon as we find a data which confirms to our understanding, we automatically think, okay, this is the thing. Instead of looking for other controversial sources, we tend to just go with that information. So yeah,
Yeah. So
again, a
when
very good topic that we can discuss in one
right,
of our
right.
podcasts:
Yeah,
cognitive
because
biases.
when you brought up the blood diamond, so there is a like part where the main actor name was Leonardo, right? Leonardo, he actually
Yes,
explains how the money laundering happens, like how the
yes,
blood diamond actually moves from one country to another, and how the money moves from one place to another. He actually explains that money laundering process. It's a very like 2 or 3 minutes, but he explains the whole process. Yeah, and as you said, we can explore
yes.
this topic in our next podcast, because I think this will be very interesting for our audience also.
Yeah, something like how diamonds are being used, something like that, that can grab attention of our viewers, and help them understand the bigger picture,
Right.
and
Uh,
also help us and make sure that the our wives and girlfriends don't ask for diamonds.
Diamonds.
Can also help us men, save our money in
Right.
the end.
Diamonds are best friend of girls or women in
Yes,
general.
yes.
So anyway, okay. So Vivek, we want to cover any more topics in today podcast.
I think, Kiran, we covered a lot of varied topics today,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I feel we did provide a lot of good information for our viewers. And let's not bombard them with a lot of things.
Right. Right. Right.
And yes,
Yeah. Maybe like for the next next weekend, we need to decide a topic beforehand. Like maybe on
Yes,
Sunday, then we could prepare on that
yes,
topic, and it would be easy for us to present that material, or discuss that material on our next podcast.
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, we could do that, right? And I think that would be more make it discussion more fluent.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's do that, and I'll share the structure to you as well beforehand,
Right.
and
Right.
you can do the same with me as well, so that
Right.
we both know what are the things that we are focusing upon, and this will help us sync with each other
Right. Right.
and closely align with each other's topics and discussion points, and which will lead to a much more interesting discussion. Yes,
Yeah. So although in podcast we are actually talking, but it's an audience. We also need to keep the audience in our mind, right? They should gain a value out of
yes,
this podcast, right?
yes,
Yes. So yeah.
absolutely.
So please, please, or I can let you. So I have actually today for today topic I have actually decided that will talk about FATF Grey List. Maybe let's say on Sunday you can say you can like decide on the topic which will be which will be discussing our next podcast,
Sounds, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a very good idea.
right?
Let's take turns and
Yeah,
decide.
yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, because yeah, that will be like a mutually benefit for both of us, right? So
Yes, yes. I agree. I agree.
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
let's take a turn and
Yes.
let's and I really love this your initiation, because of you we are able to do this, right? And I didn't thought that I actually didn't put a lot of thought of doing podcast, but like we did like two series or two episode, let's say. But I find this very interesting, right? Because we are learning from each other and we are also trying to give value to others. So and this is a very great information,
And we are also passionate about this industry. Since
right?
we both are the veterans of this industry for more than 15 years now, we both love this, doing this, and we are both passionate. And I feel we should, continue to develop on that passion. And yes, yes, I agree.
Right, right, right. Let's hope we get momentum soon, so that
Yes.
and also, are you publishing in some kind of a social media? But I'm actually publishing this podcast in my YouTube channel. So, are you YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and whatever the social media accounts I have? So, are you also doing the same thing, or?
I haven't done so, but I'm thinking about it.
Sure, sure,
So I'll let you know as soon
sure,
as I
sure.
come to a decision. Yes.
Okay, because I will have the all the videos stored with you, because all of them are available in Google Drive, so you can
Yes.
use it at
Yes.
any time. So I will combine these
Sounds good.
two videos that we have done today, and I will remove certain parts which are not necessary,
Yes. Yes.
and then
Of
I will
course.
provide you with that video again in the Google Drive, so you can use it whenever you like.
That's very helpful, Kiran. Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Mention not. Vivek. Okay, so Vivek, yeah, we'll see you in. I will see you in on next weekend, and we will discuss some other useful topic, right?
Absolutely, Kiran. You have a great weekend, and this was really nice. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Vivek, for doing it, and thank you so much for your valuable insights. I got to learn so much from you today.
Same here, Kiran. It is like it was a two-way street, and I am
Right?
learning as much as you are. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Vivek. So have a nice
So,
day and take care.
all right. See you next weekend. Bye.
Okay, bye.